especially in Vietnam, was using 4G for some smart city component. How the city can transform to 5G?
So one of the things about 5G is that when we are deploying 5G in the first half of 2019 and throughout 2019, a good fraction of the time we're actually reusing existing sites. And so we can reuse existing 4G sites and add 5G new radio on top of it. The other part, and this is kind of important, is that in the beginning as 5G is rolling out, we expect 5G to be deployed in what is known as a non-standalone mode. And what that means is that the device is simultaneously connected to both 4G and 5G. And that means when you have an existing 4G network, you're simply adding 5G on top of it, and the device is connected to 5G when it is in 5G coverage, and when it goes out of 5G coverage, it just happens to use 4G. And when it is in 5G coverage, the device still ends up using 4G as well. So you have like a mix and match of both 4G and 5G simultaneously serving the user. And that actually allows for a more seamless user experience and an easier deployment of 5G.
Okay, question number two is how about cost for apply 5G in smart city in development country?
So what we expect, it is a good question in the sense that 5G is a far more expansive concept. It is not just about smartphones. We are talking of smartphones, always connected laptops, industrial applications, and then going into autonomous vehicles as well. So there's a very broad range of applications that we are talking of. When we think about smart cities, usually one starts thinking of the applications of 5G in higher end industrial IoT applications in manufacturing plants, along with the applications in smart cities where we have traffic lights and stop signs which are communicating with the vehicles. So these are like the higher end of 5G services that we expect to see. Now there is still some ways to go because we only got done with the first version of 5G, the first standards. The standards for 5G will continuously evolve. And gradually over time when we see these services coming in, they will start from the top and gradually go down into all the tiers that are necessary for 5G to happen.
Okay. Question number three is some opinion 4G still good for people. So our development and growing countries, when is the best time to move to 5G? And what Qualcomm can help the develop 5Gs close like Ho Chi Minh City and from other countries?
So just in terms of the rollout itself, it's important to know that today when you can walk into a store and you can buy yourself a gigabit LTE device, and there are certain use cases for those devices. But what's going to happen is that when 5G is launched, at that point in time, you have benefits for all the 5G users because they get these higher data rates and lower latencies. But even for the mobile network operators, because the downloads happen much faster, it's actually a far more efficient network. So there is an incentive for the operators to go to 5G deployments. That's what we're seeing today. You heard a lot of operators today talk about it. For the end consumer, what you would like to do is make sure that you have a device which is reasonable, but at the same time it provides this new user experience that we're talking of with higher download speeds and lower latencies. So incentives are there both for the users and for the network operators. So we expect that to gradually take over in terms of how users start buying these 5G devices. And again, as I said before, we shouldn't think of 5G only for smartphones. Yes, we are starting off that way, but we have a long way to go beyond that.
Okay. Is there anybody any question? How about the other?